All right, gang. Well, good stuff, Scott. Proud of you, man. Kicking butt and taking names. Okay, so let's get this party started, and I'm going to talk about this next. This next thing we're going to talk about, and this is called this idea of force field analysis. It's kind of okay. If you've been reading the book First Things First by Stephen Covey, let's kind of put me in here. Okay, this book called First Things First. One of the concepts that he has in the back of the book on exercises is this thing called the Lewin force field analysis. All right, and being in economics, getting my master's in economics, the whole idea of equilibrium really means a lot to me. And so I'm not going to try to geek out too much on y'all, but I'm going to cover this concept with you because I think you'll be able to see some breakthroughs in your life and really kind of feel that you can move on beyond it once you've identified it. It's kind of like in sales. The objection that the client doesn't voice is the one that you can't answer. And when you can't answer an objection and fear or what's holding them back, then they won't buy from you. They're not going to be ready to take care of their families. That's why it's so important to build enough rapport with your client to be able to let them know that they can trust you with their fears, their objections, the things that are holding them back from taking care of their families. Well, likewise, this whole idea of force field analysis really analyzes what are the things holding you back from where it is you want to go. And so let me define it for you. Okay, so what does this force field analysis idea mean? Well, let's show you graphically. Okay, so this comes out of, well, it doesn't really come out of First Things First, but he alludes to it at the back, I think 183, or no, 70, 74, 70, no, I'm sorry. I will get my act together, I promise. There it is. Page 316 in the book, the Lewin's force field analysis model. Okay, so let's look at it pictorially, what it is. Okay, and the graph will speak 1,000 words. So this is what we're talking about. Your current state in your life, and you can examine it a number of different ways: spiritual, financial, physical, relationships, kind of the four areas in life. You are in a current state, okay? And is anyone ever where they want to be? It's kind of a trick question. You typically, most people that desire to improve and grow are never where they want to be. They want to achieve a better state, whether it's in relationships or a better state in your relationship with God, or a better state financially, whatever it is. I don't know too many people that are very satisfied where they're at. Typically, if you're not growing, you're dying. Okay, if you're not growing, you're going backwards. There's not really, you're kind of passing through a state. And the state that you're in is what we call an equilibrium, at least in economics. It's like when the supply and demand curves cross, then there's an equilibrium in price. Okay? Well, there's also an equilibrium of where you are in life, and based on where you are today, your current state, and where you want to go. Now, if you're where you are and you're happy where you are, then you're where you are. Okay? And then it's just maintaining that particular state of equilibrium where you are. But what keeps you where you are, right? What keeps you in where you are today? And there are two forces working on your life. Okay, and you can see on this drawing, the left force are the driving forces in your life that keep you here. Okay, I shouldn't say keep you there, that push you to this point, your current state. And then there are restraining forces that keep you here, that hold you back from where you want to go. Okay, now the analogy, the simple analogy to kind of explain this is, I'm sitting, put me in the picture. Okay, I'm sitting in this chair, right? This is my Aeron chair. This chair rocks, by the way. Aeron chair, okay? Now, when I sit in it, what's keeping me in the chair? Okay, what's keeping me in the chair? There are two forces keeping me in the chair. Or I should say, what's keeping me in the chair? What's like preventing me from going to the ground? Okay, well, there's the chair, because the chair is holding me up. And then what's another force acting upon me? Like if we didn't have this force, then I'd be floating in this office, as well as all my stuff. It's gravity. Okay, gravity's pushing me down. Actually, gravity actually pulls me down. Okay, and the chair is holding me up to be like right here staring at you. Okay, so we've got two forces, two opposing forces, the chair and gravity. Okay, so the restraining force is the chair and the driving force is gravity, and it's keeping me here seated in front of you. Now, what has to change in order for me to go to the floor? Well, you could cut the legs of the chair off or weaken the chair so that I fall to the floor. So you can work on the chair, what's holding me up, and weaken it, okay? Or you can increase gravity, if you could, the driving force, to where I weigh, 1,000 pounds, and to the point where I crush the chair and I make it to the floor. Does that make sense? So in order to move you from the current state to your desired state, you have to do one of two things or both. Reduce what's holding you back here as far as your restraining force, and or increase what's driving you, okay? Increasing what's driving you forward. And so when you kind of look at this model of motivation, of what changes and what growth you need to achieve, the most important thing is defining it. Once you define it, then you can work on it. And a lot of myself included, okay, I'm talking about myself most of the time, is, the reasons that are holding me back are typically not physical reasons. Like the chair is a physical thing. But the reasons that are holding me back from where I need to be are a multitude. Some of it is attitude and mindset. Some of it is the way I think. Okay, I'm not thinking right about things. I need to change the way I think about things, change the way I feel about things, the way I see things, right? The way I hear stuff. If I hear something differently, that will maybe help me move on, right? If I see it differently, I can make my pathway through it better, easier, with clarity of vision, clarity of purpose. If I identify that thing that's holding me back, for example, with the first things first idea, if I'm spending more time watching ESPN instead of more time reading to self-improve, then I'm holding myself back. That's a restraining force, okay? All kinds of things. If I'm not planning my schedule, that's a restraining force, okay? That's holding me back from where I need to be. And so how this works is there's very much a way of using this model to your advantage to gain some clarity and insight. And so here are the steps. I'm going to lay out the steps, and then I'm going to kind of work, let's just kind of work an exercise together so we can come to certain conclusions about maybe what's holding you back. All right, so the first thing you got to do is you got to define the change that you want to see. Okay, where do you want to be? Where do you see yourself a month from now? Where do you see yourself 6 months from now? And it could be whatever change. Since we're talking about selling life insurance and annuities and building a team, okay, let's speak very specific to that. Okay, instead of, we can define it all kinds of ways, but let's limit the discussion to helping you move on in the business. So define the change you want to see. Write down the goal. or vision of the future desired state, okay, and or understand where you're at right now. And so in this idea, we can look at your, let's say you're not making all the money you want to make. I mean, let's just say that you want to make more than you're making. You're not satisfied with how much money you're making with us. Okay, so you want to see a change. So, for example, if all you've been making with us is, $4,000 in a month, how do you double that? How would it feel to see $8,000 in your bank account as a buffer, and then you see another couple thousand every week coming in? Imagine how you'd feel. Imagine what things would change in your life. Would that be okay? Okay. All right, let's just talk double. How about doubling or increasing what you're making by 50%? Whatever it is for you. I mean, there's a reason why you're in this business. Okay, maybe the change you want to see is to have a combination of commission income and override income. Maybe $1,000 a week in your own personal commissions and $1,000 a week in override on your downline organization. And you're at a $100,000 run rate. Wouldn't that be cool, right? And then what you do, once you define the change you want to see, then you brainstorm what are the driving forces in your life that are favorable to the change. Like if you have a really great work ethic, that you're willing to work. If you know what you're trying to achieve in a goal, you're willing to work. Maybe that's it. A driving force in your life. Maybe you feel really good about yourself. You have a great self-image. Maybe you have a really strong reason why you want to do it. Your driving force is that your why is well defined. It's emotional. You want to see good things happen for your children. Maybe it's putting your kids into private school. Maybe it's getting free from credit card debt. Maybe that's a driving force for you that's very defined, right, and emotional, okay? So you brainstorm what are those driving forces. Then you brainstorm what are the restraining forces. What are the combinations of things that are preventing you from getting to where you need to go? Maybe it's not being able to control your environment to make dials. Maybe it's your work schedule. You don't know how to handle a changing work schedule. Maybe you have a negative spouse or significant other that's not positive about the business that's holding you back. Just certain things you need to identify. What is holding you back? Laziness? Maybe it's laziness. Maybe it's the lack of a defined why. Maybe you're satisfied. Maybe literally you are satisfied financially and you need a better reason why you need to do this. Okay? Those are restraining forces. Those forces that are unfavorable or oppose the change that you need to make. Okay, so you brainstorm, write these down. And then you evaluate the driving and restraining forces, and you rate each one from 1 to 5. 5 meaning that it's a strong force, and 1 meaning that it's a very weak force. The whole brainstorming thing is not judging anything you write down on the driving and restraining forces. The fact that you're just writing it down is what matters. And then you rate it from 1 to 5. How strong a force is it, both positive and negative? Okay. Yeah, or you can leave the numbers out. It says here you can leave the numbers out, so you can be a real more, let's say, holistic. In other words, you look at sort of the impact that one thing has on the whole of your driving or restraining forces. Then what you do is you review the forces, both restraining and driving forces, decide which of the forces have some flexibility for change or which can be influenced. Okay, because if you define a force as the economy that's holding you back, well, how much control do you have over the economy, right? Maybe you define one of the restraining forces, the fact that you're a Filipino. Okay, in your mind, the fact that you're Filipino, that you're not Caucasian or African American, that you're Filipino or you're Asian, maybe you feel like it's holding you back because you're selling into a very racially prejudiced area, right? Maybe that's a factor. Well, there's only so much you can do about being Filipino. You know what I mean? So there's some things that you can't change, some that you can, okay? But you got to realize what those are, and going through this exercise will help you. And then number 6, strategize. Create a strategy to strengthen the driving force, or weaken the restraining force, or both. See, the things that you do have influence over that has a strong impact on your driving or restraining forces are the things you focus on so that it will move you forward. It's really interesting, how knowing it and then doing something about it will make a huge difference. And we're not talking, that you have to impact a great degree. Just if it's a strong driving or strong restraining force, just by decreasing it or increasing it by 10% will make a huge, huge difference because it makes a huge impact. Now, if you've rated each force, how can you raise the scores of the driving forces and lower the scores of the restraining forces, or both? So the strategy, actually that's not number 7, that is a bullet. And then you prioritize the action steps. Okay, what action steps can you take that will achieve the greatest impact? Identify the resources you will need and decide how to implement the action steps. So it's actually putting together a plan in place to overcome it. And then here's a hint. Sometimes it's easier to reduce the impact of a restraining force than to strengthen driving forces. That's a huge one right there. Sometimes it's easier to reduce the impact of restraining forces than it is to strengthen driving forces. Okay, so let's go back here. All right, so I'm going to unmute.
Conference muted. Conference unmuted.
Okay, does anyone have any questions so far? Is everyone with me? I want to make sure everyone's with me because I think this is an important exercise for everyone to do to help you move forward. Any questions? Questions? Okay, I'm going to leave the line open. And let's kind of go through it because now we're going to go into participation mode. Okay, now I know how conference calls are. Okay, people don't like to speak up on conference calls sometimes, but I'm going to assume that you guys all do. You guys are all very talkative bunch, and there's nothing I can do to stop y'all from speaking on a conference. You're all going to be talking over each other because I know you want to make a major breakthrough in your life. And so I want y'all to brainstorm with me some of these forces. So let's define the driving state, okay, the desired state. So let's just make it simple. The desired state is, like, again, you can do this for anything in your life. Maybe a better relationship with your spouse, better relationship with God, increased health, whatever that is. So let's say the desired state, just make it simple, is more income. Okay, so how can we make more money doing what we do? And in your current state is you are not enough income. All right, so that's your current state. Not enough income. Desired state is more income doing what we do. And more income, it could be more control financially, less financial stress. Okay, reduce your financial stress. What a concept, right? Less financial. If I can spell, yes, I can spell. Less financial stress, more income. All those things. And so let's talk about driving forces, and then we'll talk about restraining forces. So what are some of the driving forces, let's just brainstorm, that you find that are that are in your favor in terms of driving you to a better income? Like let me start off. Oh, go ahead.
My kids.
Kids. Woo!
Always number one.
That's awesome.
Above all else.
Amen to that one. Amen to that one. Kids. That's emotional, isn't it?
Very.
Very emotional. Very emotional. I remember I was telling someone that one of my biggest problems when I got started in the business was fear of the phone, which is pretty insane when you think about it. I was an executive recruiter. I was used to making $200 a day. And I had to really think about why am I so fearful? And what it was the leads. The people were putting their name on it, they were filling out their information, and they wanted help. And I put so much pressure on myself that I got to go. I was scared that I wasn't going to be able to help them. And what was riding on the line was their financial security. And I was afraid that I'd mess up on the phone and I wouldn't be able to take care of a family that I should have been able to take care of because I was incompetent and I didn't know what I was doing. And that fear really made me fear the phone. It was like really weird. So I had to remember why I was doing it. And it was my kids, my wife. And so I put a picture of my family in front of the phone. And every time I look at my family, it reminded me why I was doing it. And I tell you what, like, instantly, it made me pick up the phone and frickin' dial because I was going to let fear of the phone stop me from feeding my family. It was emotional enough that it helped me get over that fear. I solved it immediately because one of my driving forces was my kids. Restraining forces in that regard was, fear of the phone. I mean, I'm going to put that down because that was mine. Fear. See, I didn't. Alex Aben did not come into this thing already successful. There was a lot of stuff I had to overcome myself. Okay, so driving force is kids. Anything else? Who else got one for you?
Traveling.
Traveling. I love that one. Traveling. Where do you want to go?
Everywhere, all around the world. Me and my husband wanted to travel, and we thought this was a great opportunity to be financially capable of doing that and have the freedom of time.
Absolutely. Can you imagine having like
Favor.
5,000, 7,000 of overrides coming in so you can take a month in Australia or take a month in Greece and you have 10 grand coming in because you have a group that's rocking and rolling, achieving their financial dreams and goals, which allows you the time and the money to go travel the world. And wouldn't it be cool instead of getting packed into coach that you're in like first class, actually laying that in one of those pods, those international pods where you've got everything around you, you can lay down, make your chair, your seat into a bed with headphones and oh man, absolutely. Another driving force.
Help others.
Say again.
Help others.
Help others. Yeah. There's a certain thing called fulfillment, right? Where wouldn't you love to be in a position where you can be fulfilled doing what you're doing to make money and earning money for your family? What a concept. You reap what you sow. Can you imagine sowing seeds, helping other people, and then the harvest of income is coming in your bank account? Cool. Here's one. How about this one? We have leads. We've got people that say they need help. I think that's a tremendous driving force. Instead of you going to your family and friends, having to sell them life insurance, right? And then you got to get referrals from them to keep keep your business going. I think leads is a strong driving force to help you move forward towards this more income, more control, less financial stress. Anyone else? Let's keep going, man. Brainstorm. No judgment.
Well, to go along with traveling, I think just vacations in general. I just got back from vacation, and when you're there, it's so easy to just fall in love with being away, and everybody's happier on vacation, and the kids get along better on vacation, and everything's great on vacation. And so even just being able to take a weekend or a week and just even locally, whenever we're away, it just makes me that much more fired up to be able to do that more often, or to be able to say, you know what, let's just stay 2 more nights, you know, and we don't have to worry about how much it's going to cost.
Right.
So
I
that's a
love
big
it.
thing for me.
That whole vacation attitude. No worries, baby. No worries. You know, well, you don't have to pull the credit card out. Well, you pull the debit card out because you got a bank account like with 30,000 in it, and that's actually a cool feeling. You know, to just go to an ATM so you can just print out your balance, and you see like $152,756 in it in your account. Wouldn't that be cool?
Oh my gosh. Unbelievable.
That would be cool. Okay, more driving forces. More driving forces. How about a system to help you make money? You know, like hotspots, mentors, um, books, audio, videos, NAA University. I mean, those are all driving forces to help you improve and help you grow. Our system's awesome, gang. You have no idea. Um,
Helps, I think, to be able to have time with my both to do this together.
say it again.
To be able to do this together with my spouse.
Ah, together. Well, that's unifying. I tell you what, my wife and I, Jeannie had not been in my business for a long time. I think it was probably 8 years before she decided to get involved in my business. And my business was tremendously in need of her. And it wasn't so because I could have hired out. I did hire out her position, but what I needed was, I think she knew that I needed her. In other words, I needed her to be involved with me. I just did not, we have, it's just building it together. It's like what you said, building it together. That idea of chasing a dream together. We're both harnessed. What is it? Yoked? I think the biblical terminology is we're yoked together for a common goal. Now it doesn't mean that all y'all's spouses have to be directly involved. Okay, so I'm not saying that at all. That's not. But the ability to be able to do that, should you desire to do that, is certainly here. And I just know for myself and Jenny that it just has really enhanced our relationship because I get to work with her as a partner. Now, some people that's not good. Sometimes just kind of how your personalities are. Maybe it's not good to have your spouse directly involved in business with you, but to have the option is a cool thing. So, I love that part. At the very least, they can share the all expense paid trips with you, so they get to share in the fruits and benefits of the business, right? I love that one. Anyone else? Anything else? Go ahead. Feel free to shout out something, man. We're wanting your participation.
Yeah, Alex. My motivation is doing well, so I can get more people involved in this that aren't doing well in their lives. And if they see me doing well, then they want to get involved.
Yeah. Oh man, that's great. Yeah, this business got me free from the slavery of a job, and I felt it was my mission to help others get free from their jobs so they can spend time with their families. Here's kind of, I'll give you a little insight into just how my brain works on this part. I'm glad you brought it up. The benefits and the fruits of the business for me, certainly was the income, but what it gave me was control of my time, where I got to spend my afternoons at my son's baseball games. And I promise you, nothing will ever replace that memory of me watching he was 9 at the time, make an unassisted double play by accident, really. And he looks over at me in my lawn chair, and we have this thumbs up thing that we do. And he gave me a thumbs up, I gave him a thumbs up, and I stared in his eyes, stared into mine, and that connection, I promise you, on my deathbed, I'll remember that moment the rest of my life. And it was because of this business that I wasn't enslaved in a job to be able to experience those moments with my children, moments that you can never replace, moments you can never buy, moments that is what life is all about. And I promise you, when he's with his kids, he'll always remember that moment. And that's what it's about. And so I got on fire when I realized, oh my gosh, how many other mothers and fathers want to have those moments with their children that they're missing out on because they're enslaved to a 60-hour-a-week job. And how many families can we bring together again? Can you imagine, when you look at the ills of society, the problems in our lives, or problems with society, you can trace it back to disinterested parents, because they're so focused on making a dollar bill to survive that they don't do the most important things, which is raising their family. Oh, I could go off on that all day long, but we're running out of time, so let's, anything else? That was a great one, by the way.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I think satisfaction for thyself, like this can be a meaningful career in so many aspects. So, you can be a role model to your kids also. I know, like, for me, I was looking for a career, something that I can call this is my career. And I was trying to go back to school, but it was like something, that I didn't want to get into depth right now. So I feel like this is an opportunity for you to build, your own team and to make a career out of it, as long as you persevere and you do what you have to do. Like, if I say I'm going to call 10 people, I'm going to call 10 people. I'm not going to stop at 9.
Amen. I love that.
I think
that's huge.
Connie, I am so proud of you.
Thank you.
I love it. I love it. What a great team.
Brian here.
Hey, Brian.
I apologize for but yeah, I've been hitting the dollar pretty hard lately, just trying to get my family personally in a better situation than what we were in before. And that's exactly why I got into this business, is because I want to be a master of my own time, and I want to be able to spend more time with my newborn daughter and my wife.
Amen. That to me is improvement, isn't it? Time with family. Yeah, just like people try to make the distinction between quality time and quantity time. It's like, brother, wouldn't it be cool that quantity is quality? Now, certainly, if you just watch TV with your kids, that's not really spending the best time with your kids. There's a lot of things you could do with your children, but, let's get you there first, and then we'll figure out what kinds of things you can do. Like, there's a bunch of stuff on here that people are doing with their kids. I love it, man. You hit the nail on the head with a lot of us. That's very important. Improving your family situation, improving your life. How about that? Anyone else? Let's put 2 more on here.
Alex, you said pictures of your family a while ago. Just recently, I started pulling pictures out of magazines, and we've got a room that we don't use very much, so I started putting them on the wall. And like last night, I was looking through a magazine. I saw 4 small kids, and they were jumping off of like a pier or a deck into the water. And I showed it to my wife. I said, you know what that represents to me, because his pictures just speak to me. And she said, well, they look too young to be our kids. I said, yeah, I know. I said, that's our grandkids. I'm working for our grandkids. So when I can just go in there and look at that wall and see the different pictures that speak to me about something in particular. And it's better than words. And I don't have grandkids yet, by the way. I don't have any kids that are married.
But hey, one day. Look, it's like build your business game before you need to. Don't lament. See, imagine Scott 10 years from now, he's got 10 grandkids. And I'm not like speaking that, but let's just say you had 10 grandkids, and you didn't build your business, and you're slaving away, and you thought, man, I remember back in 2014, March 6th, when Alex was talking about things hold me back, if I just went ahead and did it, I'd be spending time with them, watching them jump off of a little pier into a lake and having fun with them instead of wishing I was there, watching that through pictures that my son made of them doing it and sending them to me over email. I mean, imagine 10 years from now you say, man, thank God I listened because I did something about it and now I'm here with them watching my grandkids do it. Is that powerful? Oh, man. Okay, so we're running out of time. So let's talk about restraining forces, man. What is all holding you back? And, you know, you can do the proverbial ones or you can do ones that's you're personal to you. What's holding you back? What's restraining you from getting here? You know, what is holding you back from creating the kind of income that your family deserves, the amount of control that you need, stopping you from decreasing the financial stress in your life? So I put fear of the phone because that was one for me. What else?
Fear inside the home.
Fear inside the home. Oh man, absolutely. Another one.
Sometimes we could be battling with a spirit of like you know, a quitter spirit, and maybe we have a bad week, and then the next week, you know, your spirit is down. So I think that like battling yourself.
Discouragement. Yep, that's a real one. Another one. Just be real. Keep it real, man.
Persistence.
Oh man, that's a big one right there.
This is Dexter. The way that I grew up in this kind of business just really wasn't a reality. So sometimes I'm like trying to remind myself that it is possible. You just have to believe in yourself.
Okay. Awesome. That's a big one. It's another one.
Alex, you said incompetence, and that's one for me. Fear of not knowing the products well enough to serve people and skill level.
Okay. All right. I love it. That's a very important one because that's something we can do something about. Another one.
Not being committed to my schedule.
Not being committed to my schedule. Yeah, that's a funny one because if it's one thing putting a schedule together, it's another one following it. I know of which I speak. I have it down that I'm supposed to be dialing from 7:30 to 9, but dadgummit, man, I got up late. I don't know where my leads are. I have my script somewhere around here. And then before you know it, it's like, oh, I only have 10 minutes left. Oh well, I'll wait till 11 to 1, my next dial session. All kinds of reasons.
That would be lack of preparation.
Yep, that's another one, isn't it? Lack of preparation. That could take up a whole bunch of things, like getting your mind right before you dial. Listen to Eric Thomas on video before you dial the phone. Let me ask you, man, you listen to Eric Thomas, the hip-hop preacher, before you dial the phone, you think you'll act differently on the phone as opposed to getting yelled at by your spouse because you didn't take the garbage out? Just keeping it real. What else, man? Come on, hit me. We are going to get rid of all these. We're going to get you to where you're moving to the right towards the desired state. So let's define those other things. What are the chairs in your life keeping you above your, mired in your muck? What else, man? Go ahead.
Hanging out with people think like we do.
Hanging out with the right people.
No, yeah, it's wrong.
That's huge. Sometimes the wrong people are your family. What do you mean by that, Alex? Well, sometimes the family that puts you down, and you all know what I mean. There's certain, like when you're growing up, there are certain family members that keep you in that same state of feeling small, and when you get around them, you revert. You all know what I mean. You'll revert back to that scared little child that was told that they couldn't accomplish anything. And I'm telling you what, man, you love your family, but sometimes they're not the people you need to be around if you want to break out of that type of environment that keeps you down. You know, there's one thing to love your family, but another thing to, you know, you got to put the mask on your face first. You know, the oxygen mask, you know, when it pops down on an airplane, that's why they say put it on your face first before you decide which child to put mask on their face. Just kidding. But you know what I mean? You got to save yourself, gang. You're the most important person that needs to be pumped up and excited about life. All right. Anything else?
Family lack of control of time.
Family obligations. That's a good one. Lack of what? Time?
Control of time.
Okay. Lack of control of time. I love it. This is good. This is good stuff. What else?
I would just say being clear-minded whenever you start dialing. Something that I do is I listen to one of my favorite bands, Dave Matthews Band, before I actually pick up the phone and start talking to people. And what it does is it clears my mind of any stress that I currently have in my life, or, you know, like you were saying, you know, your wife getting on you about taking the trash out, you know, that sort of thing, or, you know, family obligations, whatever it might be, just being level-headed. And so whenever you start talking to these people that want help and want to be financially protected, you just put all of your stuff in the back and focus on what is going on currently.
Amen. Love it. See, that's a way to overcome that restraining thing, the being clear, clarity in your head. Those are real things that you can do to mitigate, to decrease the things holding you back, to increase the things that's going to make a major change in your desired state or your current state. That's a huge one. Good stuff, man. Good one. Who else? Let's put a couple more up here. What's holding you back, man? What's holding you back from achieving success that you deserve for your family? Well, wash it away.
Hi, this is Leticia, and I think a lot of times it's fear of failure that can restrain us, and then also laziness at times. If we really take an evaluation of all what we do, a lot of times we have laziness in our life, so those two.
Oh, Leticia, that rocks. Thank you for calling that one out. I suffer from that as well. And a lot of it is feeling like, man, I don't feel like doing it. How many of us have succumbed to feelings? Being controlled by feelings. You know, it's kind of like, well, I don't feel like making dials because they're just going to yell at me. And it's like, well, okay, you could feel like that. Or how about the feeling of having to go to a job from 9 to 5 every day, being told what to do by a boss who hates you, and a job you don't like that's not fulfilling you, and you're in that job slavery for the rest of your life. Can you imagine? Only to retire, right, under poverty level income, and you have to work at Walmart, Kmart, and McDonald's just so that you don't have to keep you from eating dog food. I mean, it's like that dish commercial like, you know, don't wake up with your face head down in a ditch. You know, just buy dish. I mean, being controlled by feelings, oh my gosh. You know, feelings can be the worst thing to make judgments on what you do with your time. That's a huge one right there. All right, one more. I'm going to take one more from the audience.
Hey, Alex,
Yes,
it's Larry.
Larry. All right.
Yep, I think that I have found that the greatest problem I have has been the emotional baggage. That in order to explain that, I know I've told you, I told Ellery, I haven't told too many people. But the fact that I lost 3 family members in 4 months a few years ago, that has probably been the worst thing for me.
That's very real, man. That's very real. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep,
Well,
I got to work with it every day to try and overcome that so that I can keep pushing forward.
yep. Wow. That's a whole conference call right there. How do
Yeah, you got that right.
well, there are certain things you can actually do on a neurolinguistic programming basis to anchor those fears outside of you, so you're not letting it diminish you. But that's a whole different conference call. Here's the thing, gang. You look at these things on the left, and you look at these things on the right, and you realize, you know what? Did the things on the left, are those important enough to overcome the things on the right? And the obvious question is, yes, it is. I mean, how can you not deny your children what you want to give them, and time with them, and all those dreams and goals that drive you. So when you look at these things on the right, the restraining forces, here's what you need to do is, what are the most significant ones that are holding you back? When you kind of survey this, fear of the phone, fear inside the home, battling against the quitter spirit, discouragement, persistence, being persistent, never believing you could do something like this, fear of not knowing the products, the skill level, not being committed to my schedule, lack of preparation, being around the wrong people versus being around the right people, family obligations, lack of control of time, being clear in your mind before dialing, fear of failure, laziness, being controlled by feelings, emotional baggage. Do you realize, gang, that a lot of this stuff is within your control? Like nobody put down the economy. Nobody put down the fact that it's winter. You're putting real things here that you can overcome. A lot of this stuff can be overcome by just brute force activity, doing the activity to push you into the zone of overcoming these things. What reduces fear? Okay, people think faith reduces fear. Well, the only way to have faith is to work. Faith is manifested not by saying you have faith. Faith is manifested by what you do. Show me what you do, and I will tell you whether or not you have faith to overcome the fear. Faith will overcome fear if you put work behind it. People think that, well, when I feel comfortable, then I'll do it. When I feel competent, I will do it. Gang, that will never happen. That's like saying we'll go on vacation when we have extra money. You and I know that never will come because you haven't planned for it. How you overcome fear is activity. How you overcome fear is by picking up the phone and dialing it. And what's interesting is once you dial the phone, you start having less fear because you prove to yourself that you have faith. Does that make sense? Fear. Activity will conquer fear. Activity will always conquer fear. Getting yourself fear of not knowing the products. Here's what I tell you what. You book an appointment, I promise you're going to be very motivated to learn the products. See, because booking an appointment has nothing to do with product knowledge. Booking an appointment is booking the appointment. That's a skill thing. Once we book the appointment, I will help you prepare for it. And you'll be motivated to read that product manual. You'll be motivated to watch the video on how CFG SafeShield term works. You'll be motivated to download the software to run rates. You'll be motivated, trust me. The thing that'll motivate you is booking that appointment. All right. Other things here, not being committed to my schedule. Wow, commitment. Commitment. Okay, so when you get married to your spouse, for those of you who've been married, no, I know. Let's use a better one. When you have a child, and your baby is screaming at the top of his or her lungs in the crib, are you just gonna like not go to the now? I mean, your child's in trouble, child's hungry. Are you not going to feed your child? Are you going to decide that, well, it's not on my schedule? No, you're going to feed your child. Your child's hungry, you're going to feed your child. Do you have to think about that commitment? I mean, are you like wondering when your child's hungry, are you wondering, am I committed mother or not? I wonder if I should go pick my baby up and feed her. See, if we're committed the way we are committed to our children, like in fact, here's what's funny is that I don't think it's funny, but it's well the reality is that it's a 50% divorce rate, right? It's like 55%, 53%, something like that. And I don't know what the divorce rate is with children, but I promise you it's probably lower, right? You know, you don't divorce your kids. I mean, there's some people that leave and abandon their children, yes. But compared to a marriage commitment, I think that the child-parent commitment is probably much more inherent. Maybe you can call it biologically, okay? But it's commitment nonetheless. And we're less committed to our spouse statistically than we are children. I'm just saying we as a general, we as a society. All right? You know, I liken commitment. If you want to know what commitment is, compare commitment to your commitment as a parent. Well, Alex, that's not comparable. The word commitment means something. Words have meaning, right? Words have meaning. If words have meaning, then commitment, you have to define it the same way. You know, it's like, well, I'm committed sometimes. Okay, are you sometimes committed to your child? Well, that's different. Really? Words have meaning, right? Does the word commitment have a different meaning to your children as applies to, you know, commitment's commitment in my opinion. Now the question is the consequences of your lack of commitment, that's a whole different thing. The consequences of your lack of commitment to a child is your child goes hungry and dies, or your child's needs aren't being met, right? Or whatever. The lack of commitment to your schedule, lack of commitment to this business, that's a whole other different result. And so maybe you're not thinking of it, you're not thinking about the results of the lack of commitment. It's easy to know the lack of results of lack of commitment to your child, but maybe it's not as easy to determine the lack of commitment to your business, lack of commitment to making dials. And that's almost kind of what we're talking about here, isn't it? Your commitment to the stuff on the left, isn't it? We're talking about your commitment on this stuff on the left, because your commitment to the stuff on the left will help you overcome the restraining forces on the right. You tell me that you want to do this for your kids, well then show me that you want to do this for your kids. I know you love your children. You tell me you love your children. You tell me you want to spend time with them. Well then show me, don't snow me. And here's where how simple it can be. I mean, let's just be real. I want to be real with you. This is not intended solely to be a feel-good session. I want you to feel good after we're done. But I want to take you through reality, right? If you are committed to the things you say you're committed to on the left, then show me. Alex, how do I show you? Show me that you'll make $200 this week. It's a simple thing. Well, I don't have enough leads. Okay, we'll get some leads. TLPs, whatever. Show me that you'll make 200 dials. 300 dials. Scott did $300 to book 20 appointments. If grandkids are important to Scott, time with the grandkids, then he'll make $300 this week. If helping others is as important as you say it is, then show me that you make $200 this week. If being on vacation as often as you want to, whenever your kids are out of school, imagine every 6 weeks your kids take 3 weeks off. Imagine taking 1 or 2 weeks of vacation every time they're off from school. If that's important, show me, don't snow me. 200 dials. Can you make 200 dials this week? Can you not get blanked next week on the production week number 2? Is your name going to be read on the leaderboard? See, because if you do 200 dials, I promise you, we're going to read your name on the leaderboard, because you're going to book an appointment or 2 or 3 or 10, and you're going to sit down with 2 or 3 or 10, and you're going to close 2 or 3 or 10. Show me, don't snow me. Overcoming fear is putting action when you don't feel like, especially when you don't feel like it. See, because that's the beauty of discipline, is doing something that you don't feel like doing, so that at the end of what you did, you can feel good that you overcame the flesh. See, this is why they call it sin of the flesh, because if you follow what the flesh desires, it will lead you into sin. That's why we are spiritual beings, to overcome the flesh, the world. Overcoming the flesh is discipline. No different than keeping sin out of your life. It's the discipline of overcoming fleshly desires, of laziness. Do you know where the fear of failure comes from? Who wants you to fail? Okay, I'm kicking it up to a spiritual level, so all you non-religious people can turn it off. Who wants you to fail? The enemy wants you to fail. How does the enemy want you to fail? The enemy wants you to fail because he wants you to realize, or to think, that you weren't made in the image and likeness of God our Father. He wants to focus on all your flaws, when in fact God made you in his image and likeness. You're a kid of the King. If you're a kid of the King, how can you not claim your inheritance? How can you let fear hold you back? The enemy is the master of fear. The enemy is the master of you feeling like a failure. The enemy is the one that's keeping you down because he's getting in your head, man. You're a kid of a king. You deserve better for your families. And when you tap in to overcoming the muck and just putting action in because you have faith, then God will give you the courage to overcome it and help you do it. You're not in this by yourself. Understand the power you have. You have power. And it's not from the enemy. Your power to overcome. He's already given you, and you've already inherited the kingdom. You know, you have to act like it. You know what I'm saying? You got to act like it. Act like it. Show me, don't snow me. $200. Can you do 200? Can you do 250? Can you do 300? Show me. You can do it. And if you have trouble trying to figure out how to do it, then call me and we'll game plan it. Okay? Call me and game plan it. Man, you have the power in you. You do, man. You do. Because I cannot believe that God has given you the dream of providing for your family, traveling, the dream of helping other people realize the benefits of the business, the dream of being a role model for your children, so they don't have to look for anybody else for role models. God didn't give you a dream but not give you the means to obtain that dream. He's given you the power. You just don't know it. You have it inside you. You do. So make a commitment to get on the phone and start dialing. You know, say, God, I know that you're with me. I'm going to pick up this phone, and there's someone that's going to need my help. It may not be the first person that yells at me. It might not be the second person that yells at me, but it's going to be somebody. And I'm going to put my faith in you because I knew you were by my side. You never me walk through the valley by myself. You're carrying me through the valley. I look at those footsteps, and those footsteps are yours because you're carrying me. I got nothing to fear because you are at my side. You're my rod and my staff. There's nothing that can, no weapon can be formed against me because you are with me. Don't snow me, show me, gang. You can do this thing. Go through this force field analysis and identify specifically those things, and I will help you. My job is to help you. My mission, the reason why God put me on this earth is to help each and every one of you realize the goals and dreams that He put in front of you. That's my job. So use me to do my job, my mission. See, that's what fulfills me. So use me, call me, get in touch with me. Let's game plan. I'm here to help. Really, I'm here to help, man. I love y'all. You can do this thing. You can kill it. All right, gang? And, man, I'm proud to be, I'm blessed. Let's just say that. I'm blessed that God put me here and put you in my group. He put me here, put you in my group for a reason. And I want to know what that is. I want to know that I can help you. All right? And we can overcome anything, right, with God at our forefront, with God at our side. Know what I'm saying? You and me. You, me, and him. The three of us. We can rock the house. All right, gang? So proud of y'all. Let's do it. Let's overcome to become, right? Let's dial the phone. 200 dials. Can you hit 200 dials this week?